What is up, sexy people? It is Dave. It is Duncan back from Metal Epidemic for another album review. For this review, Duncan and I have been checking out the new album from SoCal-based Reggaecore band Aurorawave. The band's new album, Monument, will be released on
Monument. Yes, that's how we pronounce it in Scotland.
August 15th on Ineffable Records. SoCal's rising reggae rockers Aurorawave have officially announced their eagerly anticipated sophomore album, Monument. Formed with the intention of absolute authenticity, Aurorawave established a clear identity with their self-titled debut album. The project featured notable collaborations with members of The Ghost Inside, Atreyu, and Attila, introducing the band's hybrid sound to a broad spectrum of alternative and heavy music audiences. Their debut positioned them as emerging voices with the versatility to operate across multiple subcultures within the rock and reggae landscapes. In 2025, the band unveiled Monument, a decisive step forward in their evolution. The album brings together an eclectic and high-profile group of collaborators, including Aaron Gillespie from Underoath, Frankie Palmieri from Immure, Left to Suffer, Echo, Jesse Royal, The Movement, and Kumar Faya. Monument expands the band's sonic framework while retaining the emotional weight and urgency that defined their approach. The result is a record that is both thematically cohesive and musically diverse. Commenting on the album, frontman Nathan Aurora says, "I've been making music now for 22 years.
Jesus.
And throughout my career, there's only been a few times when I felt like I made a perfect album. This is one of them for sure. I poured every ounce of myself into this album, my struggles, my triumphs, and every single one of my musical inspirations. There's reggae, a genre that helped to mould me into who I am today, and the guests within the album that come from the reggae world are my favourite in the game. And of course, there's metal, the music that was my foundation in the first place. And with the heavy stuff, I really feel like we found our stride on this record. The tones are chunkier, the breakdowns slam harder, and the energy is high the whole way through. Monument is a journey, not just through different musical landscapes, but through different emotions that I think all humans feel in one way or another. Pain, resentment, joy, hope, and freedom. Thanks for listening." So, we shared one of the singles in our group chat, and there was a bit of a
sky burial.
there was a bit of a mix of reactions to the single.
Whatever do you mean, Dave?
Just differing opinions.
Whatever do you mean, Dave? So, if my memory serves me, everyone was like, "This fucks, let's review it."
I don't quite remember it like that, Duncan. But
that's interesting. That's age creeping in there, Dave. The memory starts to go first.
But I thought to myself, why not? Let's check out the full thing.
You're like that. You're like that. I love it when Duncan likes something I send through, and what we'll do is we'll just put him to the test, and we'll just watch him regret his decision, and that way he'll never stick his nose back into maybe we should review this, Dave, because that's my fucking job. I get it, Dave. You're setting me up for failure, but
you did seem the group mostly in favour of the single. I think
I liked the single. I thought the single was a lot of fun, catchy as fuck. So, and you know what? I'm going to stand by that statement. The single, Tibetan Sky Burial, featuring Frankie Palmieri of Immure, is memorable and catchy as fuck.
Nice.
So how dare you?
So, Duncan.
No. Before you do the Dave thing, which is, let me hear your case and then watch me fuck it in the ass in front of you. You go first.
I'll go first if you want.
Oh, I will take a list of everything that you're about to say. Well, I actually don't know. You might be like that. Actually, this is a lot of fun. Well, no, maybe. I get the feeling with your head snapped back there. That's maybe not the case.
Okay.
I'm going to say is these guys have bills to pay and children to feed. So you just watch what I don't even know if they have children. I don't know. I'll say they do. So you be kind.
Okay. Just
no.
This out here. So yeah, this year has brought quite an interesting array of genres, Duncan.
An aurora of genres.
Yes. We've been used to the old reliables, and then we've had some that have been a little bit more out of the box.
Off the wall, Dave.
cyber grind, Duncan.
Was it a genre? Apparently it has been for decades.
We've even had folk horror, we've had zamrock, we even recently had mincecore, Duncan.
Mincecore.
Mincecore, that's correct.
If you don't believe it exists, it does.
Check out the website, mincecore, it's on there. Now we have Reggaecore. But let's be honest, Duncan, we've heard reggae melded with other styles in the past, going way back.
Shaggy, yeah. I know what you're saying, Dave, a while ago. You know what I'm going to say? It wasn't me.
God damn it.
Wasn't me.
Skindred is what I was going to say.
That, well, if you're going to go with the obvious comparison. But is it an obvious comparison, Dave? Is it,
mean, they maybe don't use metalcore as their mixer of choice. But they have been championing the whole reggae kind of front for a long time.
I mean, if we're going dub war, we might as well just go back to we might as well just go back which is that's mid-90s.
Yeah, for sure. So, but for those that have never heard dub war, the OGs like myself and Duncan, obviously,
old people,
we know, old guys. And then you've had like newer bands like 12 Foot Ninja start to incorporate bits of reggae. Fire from the Gods have done it as well, touching on reggae on a few songs. However, I think this is maybe the first time I've heard a metal band kind of fully embrace it as like a core part of their sound.
Yes. You could argue that there's maybe more reggae on here than metal.
Yeah, for sure. Like, this is not like an addition. This is not something they're sprinkling on the top or an afterthought. This is woven into the DNA of this band's sound in each track on this album. And like, I will admit, the single that I shared to the group chat, the first time I heard it, I was not quite ready for that switch from...
You sarcastically posted it, Dave. And it was you sarcastically posted it, but you posted it to the one guy who goes into everything with the most open mind ever. I'm like, entertain me. That's all I want.
Yeah, I mean, like, it does that. There's a big switch from these kind of, almost kind of like new metalcore kind of groove into this like laid back, offbeat kind of staccato reggae chords.
Fully goes in, Dave. It's not even like there's not like then we're guiding it. No, it is like we are like it is. Switch the channel.
Yeah. And the first time I heard it, I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, it was a bit of a head spinner when I heard that track. The contrast, that jump between the heavy kind of metalcore parts and that like chilled reggae vibe was like it's obviously very noticeable, but not in a way that it didn't work, because like Aurorawave are very good at like blending the styles together in a way that feels natural. It's not like a kind of chopped, like cut and paste kind of feel, and I say that's one thing about this album I think they've nailed, even more than their debut, is the cohesion of those styles overall, within the structure of each track, and also between tracks, that this flows incredibly well. It keeps you in that kind of upbeat, feel good kind of vibe, giving you like plenty of memorable hooks and nice switch ups. You very quickly like kind of settle into this album. It has a groove that's difficult not to like, and the band are like absolutely cooking on this. Like, they are so like fused together musically. There's not a part of this that ever feels sloppy or like kind of out of sync, and for a band that's only on album 2, like it's quite impressive how kind of unified they are as a band. Also like highly soulful, this album. Reggae as a genre does evoke that kind of feeling of like kind of unity and acceptance, and it's overall deeply kind of human, and that comes across in a big way. I think it's partly to the kind of characteristics of the genre, but also I think the vocal presence of Nathan Aurora, whose vocal is like equal parts kind of smooth and authentic at the same time. I think he probably hits all the traits of the genre. I think his melodies are very good, they're very on point. He's very kind of rhythmically locked in, the way he just kind of sits back into the groove, and the harmonies they've added really complement those kind of big kind of chorus hooks on the album. It doesn't really step outside the style that much, to be honest. It's a fairly clean vocal for the most part, which it's paired very well with that kind of reggae mood. He sometimes gets a little bit more kind of rap orientated, and then there's some slightly kind of shoutier parts, where it gets a bit heavier. But he leaves most of the heavy vocals to the guests, to like Frankie Palmieri of Amur or Aaron from Underoath, and those moments do help give the album some kind of grittier kind of peaks, as do like Jesse Royal and Kumar Fire, who are, like, if you don't know, big, both kind of Jamaican reggae artists, big well-known artists. So you've got even more of that kind of genre authenticity coming through on those tracks as well. On the flip side of that, I do think even with the guests on the album, it does get a little bit familiar. I wouldn't say there's any huge like kind of curveballs on this. They have a sound, and they pretty much stick to it for the entire album. The only time that felt a little different was track 10, Welcome to Your Nightmare, which features Left to Suffer, which still had like the reggae elements on it, but also this kind of slightly more like malevolent layer of like symphonics and kind of atmosphere, which I think may be the Left to Suffer influence on the track. Wasn't totally sold on it, if I'm honest. It does kind of like verge on like deathcore at points, and it has the heaviest vocals of the album. It's rhythmically a little different to the rest of the album, and I felt like maybe it kind of stepped too far out of the kind of safety zone. I don't mind like when bands take risks stylistically, but I don't feel like it kind of gelled that well with the rest of the album for me. It might have worked better as an album closer, possibly, being a bit more experimental, but it's the second last track on the album, so it kind of took me out of it for a little bit, unfortunately, but that's just me. Production on this is tight, like it's layered, it's incredibly dynamic. I think the kind of reggae as a genre has to be kept as organic as possible.
Yeah.
If you go too clinical in the production, you lose a lot of the kind of soul and feel of it. But thankfully, they've kept it very natural. Even the metalcore or kind of new metal guitar tone has a nice bit of kind of resonance to it. It's not overly kind of digitized in any way. Same with the drum tones. They've not like don't sound too edited, or like they've replaced them with like terrible drum samples. The snare's got a really nice kind of pop and nice reverb and stuff to it. But yeah, I think as an album, it's a bit of a vibe. I think there are some great melodies. It's soulful. It's even the lyrical content, it's got a great kind of honesty to it. It sounds great, and the production, it's spot on. Are the metalcore riffs a little generic in places? Yeah. Are the new metal characteristics anything I haven't heard before? No. But is it an enjoyable listen? Yeah, it is. If the sun is out and you're looking for an album that is feel good, with a bit of a bounce to it, and some nice melodies, then this will fit the bill. Duncan, what are you thinking?
Dave, what has the weather been like in Scotland for
so
the
fucking
last
warm,
week?
Man. So warm.
It's uncomfortably
It's ridiculous.
warm, right? Unseasonably, uncomfortably. We are not built, designed, or grown up in this heat, right? We aren't. So how do you counter that? Good times and good vibes.
Yeah.
So, like, yes, you sent the track through originally, Tibetan Sky Burial, and I listened to it, and instantly, and you prefaced it, you were like, wait, you the switch in this. And I don't know what I was expecting, but when that switch came in, I was fine with it. I was just like, oh, cool, right? Oh, right. Once again, have grown up listening to weird fucking shit. It goes all over the place. So the jump, what it was, and I can't stress, it is, if you're not expecting it, it is very different. But it wasn't so different that I think of 12 Foot Ninja. And I remember the first time we listened to Coming For You.
Yeah.
and like go like that, and there's like 12 genres on that one song, and it's like every verse, chorus, and interlude is a completely different genre, and then they switch them the second time through. So it's not that I haven't not trained for this. I've trained for this, right? So like, bring it to me. So like at the end of
Colorado,
that,
Duncan, in Denver, up in the mountains.
chest expansion. Let's fucking do this. So what I was hoping for was an album of Tibetan Sky Burial. But that's what I wanted, right?
Yeah.
That's what sold me. Same way when you like the first time we listened to Babylon by Skindred, you'd hear like Pressure, and you'd be like that. I want an album of that.
Yeah.
And for the most part, you get an album of that. And here, for the most part, you get an album of that.
Yeah.
Right, some of the ingredients and the way we get to the reggae is slightly different. Sometimes the reggae is what kicks off a track, and then the metal is the chorus. And then sometimes it's the metal that's the verse, and it's the reggae that's the chorus, and we're mixing things up. But for the most part, familiar is the word that I would use, and that like by the time you've got through the first couple of tracks here, the secret formula has been revealed. There ain't no surprise there. I'm going to double down and completely agree with you. Welcome to Your Nightmare is an oddity on this one, and it's an oddity because one, it is far too heavy for this album, but two, even the drum work is like the bass bit. It's totally out of place on this one, and I don't even think putting it at the end would work. I just wouldn't have it on this album at all.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
No, it's an oddity on here, and it's not that. Had the rest of the album been like that, totally fine with it. I'm not against it. I don't think the fusion of that plus the reggae doesn't work, but it's the only time it's used on the album to that intensity from the metal aspect that it does sound a bit jarring, because you don't get any of it before, and you definitely don't get anything after like that. So it kind of stands out. So it's a track for me that feels like the album would be fine without it, right? This is going to get me trouble online. The first thing I thought of when listening to this is if 90s Ace of Base were a metal band, that's kind of like all that she wants is like the synth work on here and the reggae grooves, man, are Ace's bass as fuck. I like 90s AC bass, so I'm not going to lie. For me, it made me smile and it made me happy. But that Skindred wasn't the first thing that came into my brain. Ace of Base was the first thing that came into my brain. I was like, what are we doing here? And the best way, and it is like that. We've mentioned new metal, we've mentioned metalcore. The thing that we haven't mentioned is pop punk. And pop punk is very much through this. Like modern pop punk is very much through this as well. And it's partly down to Nathan's vocals, which will lean, the clean tone of that allows him to do the reggae without trying to sound Jamaican, but also leans into a very clean tone that you would expect from bands like All Time Low, or as that sort of level of clean pop punkery. It works really, really, really well though. He has a beautiful tone, just like really soothing, really calming. Like when he's singing, you just like, this guy is like 22 years apparently, but to me when I'm listening, I'm like, this guy is a professional singer. Like you just get that vibe about him. Nothing on here feels like his effort, nothing on here feels like a stretch, and actually all of it is really well executed. It just has like a really beautiful tone. You are right, the new metal here is base level new metal. This is the new metal you would get if you said to ChatGPT, listen to these new metal albums and write me a new metal song. It's that. The metalcore is what would happen if you go to Copilot and give Copilot a lot of metalcore stuff and say, write me some metalcore riffs. And even the reggae, I'll be honest, the reggae isn't remarkable, but there's something about the fusion of all of them together that weirdly works for me. And the same way that I think back on some of the oddities from back in the new metal day, like bands like, was it Ill Disposed? Was it Ill Disposed? Ill Disposed is a much heavier band. Who's the band that did the track Poison Well? What was their name? I can't remember. Anyway, they were like a rap rock metal. There was rap rock bands, not Ill Disposed. Don't go and listen to them now that I've mentioned it. Like that. What the fuck is he on about? It's going to annoy me. now that I've said that. But there was bands that kind of fused that kind of rap rock mentality, not like Limp Bizkit, but more of they tried to capture the authenticity of what that kind of urban sound sounded like with new metal.
Yeah.
And it fused together to something that made them kind of not fit within the genre, but there was nowhere to go. Like, rap didn't want them, metal didn't want them, so they just existed. Aurorawave is kind of like that. Like, I don't think there's enough metal on here where to me, I think they're a curiosity, but in the best possible way. Like they're not playing reggae festivals. I can't imagine that's happening. And I think they're playing metal festivals purely because where else do you go?
Yeah.
The fact that they've managed to carve, and this is how you know that they know what they're going for. The split here of guests is almost 50-50 to the main genres that are influencing them. To me, speaks to what they're trying to achieve here, which is a fusion between the two.
Yeah.
Like, you could very easily, if you want to appease the metal crowd and do the metal gigs, you could have just had as many Frankie Palimeris in here as possible, and that would have been fine. Vice versa, you could have plenty of the Kumars on here doing what they do to appeal to the other side. The fact they weave them in a way where it's almost like one for the metal fans, one for the reggae fans, and even the position on the album is smart to me. It kind of it shows me that from a kind of craftsmanship and a compositional point of view, there's a bit of thought in that as well about song placement. It flows really, really, really well, and you don't think about it as it's one of those albums. Sounds dismissive is not as a compliment, where I very, very, very quickly switch my brain off and just listen to it. Vibe is the word you used. I would double down on that. This is the vibe album. Like, you feel good when you're listening to it. And when it finishes, that's fine. Was I walking around the house singing the choruses? No. But I'll tell you what, I wasn't sitting there going, right, we could go a while before listening to that. I could easily spin this back to back twice, sometimes 3 times, and be okay. I've listened to this a lot because it was very, very easy to listen to.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of almost general uniform approach to new metal and metalcore actually aids it in the long run, because if you go too heavy on the metalcore, it becomes a distraction. If you go too heavy on the new metal, it becomes a distraction. Actually just adding those elements as almost stock elements kind of work here, because the album isn't really prefaced around that. If you're only, because we've mentioned them and we might as well come in, if your only introduction to a kind of reggae metal crossover is Skindred, Aurorawave are not trying to be Skindred.
No. Like,
at all. I would struggle to, like, even if you put the both of them on the same bill, I wouldn't enjoy it. I would think at one point I'd be regged out. But they occupy a weird, interesting curiosity of their own. The production is clean, but it's not too clean. And it works really well. I was fully expecting to eat shit on this review. I was fully expecting that Dave's he's called my bluff, he sent it through, and now I must reap what I've sown. And I was genuinely, I was like, that, this is to teach me a fucking lesson. And the next time he sends something round, I'll wait to see what he says, and then I'll give him a Facebook thumbs up in the message, and that'll be the end of it. But I kind of feel like I stand vindicated on this one. That single is a fucking banger, and I've played it to death. It's probably
one of the best tracks on the album.
It is. It's like both that and Villain, which I think is the other single, are the best of the album. I think they showcase the best crossover between all the genres together.
Yeah.
But notwithstanding that, none of the rest of the album, notwithstanding the track Welcome to Your Nightmare, which feels out of place, actually feel like a huge climb down. They feel as good builders. They feel like good build up to the singles and a continuation through to the next big single. And in that way, it is probably the most new metal album I've heard this year. Because that's what, like there was so many albums that came out in the early 2000s that were, there's 3 big songs on this, and the rest of the album will tide you over until you hit each of those singles. I had a lot of fun with this. I genuinely did. Do I think the genre will be up in arms and have a backlash towards them. To be honest, I don't give a fuck. Like, my opinions are based on genuinely what I like and not where I see. I've seen so many people this year tell me that new Machine Head album is a good album. And if it's like top 5 material and it'll be in their end of year lists. And that speaks to my overriding point that I've had throughout pretty much my adult life, which is people are morons, so don't listen to them. Don't listen to me if you disagree. Ultimately, Monument is a lot of fun, and it showcases some really, really, really good vocal performances and some interesting song choices, to the point that, like, if they announce an album 2 years from now, I'll check it out. I will 100% go in again, and I kind of want to see what the impact is. My only concern, and it's only because you've just mentioned it in your review, is who covers the heavier vocals live. Because I don't get the impression that that's not in the bank for him.
Yeah.
Because you would have heard it. The heavier performances are done by guest vocalists. So I'm assuming we haven't really talked about any other musician in the band. So I'm assuming if this is like a studio project where you have like studio musicians like that are traveling with them, I would assume one of the other members of the band will take up that duty. Possibly.
Maybe.
Which kind of gets around it a little bit, but it is something to take into account. Live, there will be gaps here if you don't have someone performing those vocals, because I don't think that's in his ability, and actually I'm fine that it's not in his ability, because his actual vocal tone is perfect the way it is. So lots of fun album, short as fuck. This is like 30 minutes, so it's like, well, it's almost 40, but it feels like 30. It's like, as a pure shove it on in the background, have a barbecue, chat to your family, and like it's fun. It's fun. In fact, I'm not even going to try and top the word. I'm going to double down with what Dave said. It's a vibe album. It's 100% a vibe album from start to finish. Am I going to be listening to this in December? Hell fucking no. Am I going to be listening to this May through fucking September? Most likely, yes. And that's fine. We all have our albums who do that, and this is now in the rotation.
Nice. Okay, final thing, scores for Aurorawave's second album. I mean, it's fun, it's feel good, it is a vibe. Is some of it kind of generic and, familiar? Yes, it absolutely is. I actually think the reggae parts are probably my favourite bit of the album. The new metal and the metalcore stuff is, it's all right. But the reggae stuff,
there, Dave. That's what it is.
There.
It's there.
It is there. But the reggae stuff is actually pretty good. And he's got a great voice. For me, I'm going to go 3.5 on this one. Like, it's enjoyable. I probably enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to after the first single. But I could see myself coming back to it, especially if the mood strikes and you're looking for something in those rays of sun. Then this is an album you can check out. What about yourself? What are you thinking?
We've been through a bruising recording session here. Right, we have been. Like, today we've been we have almost come to fisticuffs more than once. But what I'm going to say right now is, reunited and it feels so good. 3.5, yeah.
Nice.
That's like a ton of, I was going to say I challenge you to listen to this and not smell, but metal fans can sometimes be fickle. All I'm going to say is I smelled a lot listening to it, and that's all that counts. 3.5, Dave.
Excellent. Aurorawave Monument out on August 15th on Ineffable Records. Check out the links to the band, the pre-order, the single, have a listen, see what you think. I'll stick in Tibetan Sky Burial as the single because it is pretty good actually. Let us know what you think. That is the review. Thanks for checking it out. We'll be back with another review very soon, but until then, take care. Speak to you soon.
Bye everyone.
Miss me with the holy